Right. Thank you for staying with us. We, speak on security, or as it is in Nigeria, insecurity, the state of the Nigerian state today. A few days ago, by the way, it's been touched on more than a decade of fight, you know, against insecurity, not just insecurity, talking about banditry, terrorism, kidnappings that are really taking a very ugly trend. And as I will usually say, sometimes it seems we are making some progress. And you just look at it, it will look like we are retracting back. And it's almost everywhere, with regions in Nigeria being faced by different things, because some will tell you what is happening in the northeast is quite different from what is happening in the northwest, and in the north central. They talk about the southwest has its own challenges. The southeast as well has its own challenges, and almost every part of the country is being raided. But what is happening, especially in most parts of the north central, northwest, it's not really good at all. And it has even taken an international dimension, where the United States took a position talking about the killings happening, in which they said some of which are targeted against Christians in Nigeria. But beyond all of that, finally, they have been intervening, a couple of strikes here and there. But we are hearing, news coming from Katsina State, when it has to do with the release of dozens of detained suspected bandits. And that's our conversation this morning. And the Katsina State Commissioner for Information, Salisu Bala, has explained why state government agreed to the release of dozens of detained suspected bandits, saying the action was part of a swap deal. Take note, swap deal that followed a peace agreement with repentant bandits. An official letter had earlier indicated that the state government approved the courts to release 70 suspected bandits who were in custody. Now, look at this. This is where we are, and this is our point and focus testimony, which the state government have said they were the ones who approved the court to release these people in a swap deal. Now, the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Nasiru Muazu, had earlier said in an interview that the state government agreed to their release as part of an agreement reached during a peace deal between repentant bandits and security-prone communities. Development sparked reactions from critics, some of whom raised concerns over the release of bandits who had killed, maimed, raped, and plundered communities over the years. However, Salisu said some traditional leaders approached the government to facilitate the release of the incarcerated suspect, and that the government agreed after considering the legal implication of such actions. He argued that the peace deal had yielded positive results, with normal activities such as farming resuming fully in affected local government areas. He called for the support of stakeholders, and these are some of the issues at this time. We will speak with a leader, politician, yes, but the DG at the Heritage Center, to make his position on why the Katsina State Government has taken this decision as they are defended. They said, the royal fathers approached them, and we have been hearing before why and how communities, especially in Katsina State, have been taking initiative, even on their own, to have peace pact, whatever that means, peace conversation or negotiation rather, with these bandits. And here we are right now. Dr. Katch Ononuju joins us virtually. Dr. Katch, good morning. Thank you for joining.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Right, here we are, and this might not be entirely new, but one would naturally think maybe we have passed that. And I think we have had this conversation with you severally, and it has been confirmed that initiatives are taken by leaders of communities who will by themselves, because of their helplessness, go meet these bandit leaders. We have some of those pictures are the ones we put up earlier that will say, what does it take for us to stay alive? Please help us. And of course, terms and conditions will be given. Of course, they will always negotiate. Such a negotiation will come from a place of weakness and helplessness. And these guys, they come strapped, just like the ones we've seen earlier, if I can have it again, strapped with dangerous military-grade weapons to come for this peace pact. And here, the Katsina State Government has talked about his own, you know, what they have done in this particular case. It's another different case where they have said there are some repentant bandits, and for us to have peace, release some of their own so that our communities will be free. Your take on that, Captain?
What you're seeing is simply a state, Katsina, that was collaborating with the Fulani militias. First, you establish we have a Fulani problem. And so the Fulani war, one from their politicians, two from the bandits, which are actually terrorists. There are politicians in Abuja who are already patrons. Some are financiers. Some are on the side of what you call bandits, these terrorists. It's an ethnic war. It's a slow motion war. And in that ethnic war, there are states who are with these terrorists. Number one amongst them in the whole country is Katsina State Government. So it was Katsina State Government that negotiated away territory of his land, negotiated away 20 local government out of 34 to these bandits. And that was what President Trump said it's a disgrace for states in Nigeria to agree to concede territory to these Fulani terrorists. Whether you accept it or not, whether you are comfortable with the words I use or not, Nigeria does have a Fulani problem. The Americans have come in to deal with the Fulani problem in both U.S. legislation, where they targeted McBan, the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association. They all targeted Miyetti Allah Cattle Hore, led by Bello Abdullahi Bodejo. Nigerian government has also gone on to start prosecuting officials of the Bauchi State Government who, with instructions from the state governor, Bala Muhammad, was funding this Fulani terrorist. That is right now a case in Nigerian courts. So if you want to live in denial, that's your problem. Mine is, as a commentator, to tell the public the truth of what's going on. Nigeria does have a Fulani problem. And that is historical, and we know where it's coming from. So now that the problem is here with us, I told you the other time, there's a Fulani war. As Americans came, it was the same Fulani thing they were doing. Americans didn't go to Sambisa because they knew the Fulani politicians were lying to Nigerians. The minute the Nigerian army went to Sambisa with equipment and support from the US people, Nigerian soldiers took possession of Sambisa forest. The minute Nigerian government changed the engagement policies of the its army, say if anybody cocks a gun near you, engage. Don't listen to the do not engage story told by Fulani politicians. And that's why the Fulani man at the Ministry of Defense was removed, Badaru, and as they now put a victim, Christopher Musa, he now changed that policy. You can see, as I told you earlier on this your channel 2 months ago, that just by changing of that policy, you will see that the Fulani militias are not invisible. So this is now a sign of a country willing to do its issue. But there are state governors who were weakened. Some were bought into this Fulani crisis. The deepest of all in this Fulani problem is the Katsina State Government. So it is also now trying to, because it has seen that the federal government will no more condone those things it was doing, handing out 20 local governments out of 34 to the Fulani terrorists. The Katsina State Government is also now blazing the trail in trying to tell you that it will remove the people they call terrorists and then release them. But of course, if it's in the east, where the Fulani politicians sponsored the unknown government sting operation and several Biafra now groups to force a diversion and a distraction, you can see the Americans who have better intelligence gathering materials and assets in Nigeria know that our problem, Nigeria's problem, is a Fulani problem. It is the politicians and the pressmen who are induced and very afraid, who don't want to discuss it. The Americans have come, they didn't go to Sambisa, they started bombing in Sokoto. And then you saw the Sultan hiding. And then you saw Sheikh Gumi trying to now justify. So let us understand why Sokoto Katsina is doing what it's doing. Okay?
Dr. Katch, this morning, the whole thing, the whole issue, the main issue is about repentant, bandits, in quotes, and even here it's in quotes right here on Premium Times. Is Nigeria a serious country? I mean, what do we mean? Do serious countries have repentant bandits?
Doctor, can you hear us?
No, we, as I told you, we as a country, yes, of course, I can hear you very well. I can hear you very well. You have to accept our problem. You must be honest in accepting our problem as a country. We have a Fulani problem. And that problem, whether me and you want to deny it out of fear or address it out of the need for truth, to also tell the people what's going on, that problem, because we are in denial, that's why you're asking if we are a serious country. We are a serious country. We have this problem, and it is caused very simply. The British, when they came to do colonial rule in Nigeria, they hired and employed the Fulani to supervise the Hausas in what was called indirect rule. When we now had independence, the British left, but left the Fulanis to still over the Hausas doing indirect. That's why till today, no Hausa man is emir anywhere in Hausa land. So the Fulani are now using that advantage over the Hausa states to also undermine the rest of the North. And when they couldn't get what they want on time, they launched this slow motion war, which me and you call a jihad, which occasioned the genocidal killings of Christians in Benue, Plateau, Taraba, Niger, Nasarawa, and Kaduna states. When we discuss it, some people say, don't talk about it, don't do this, you will do that, but it is the truth. The Americans have done their legislation, and the people that they put in legislation were the Miyeti Allah Kautohore, the Miyeti Allah Makban, Cattle Breeders Association, and of course, Tabita Polaku and Gandukoyi. So don't play with this. There is a crisis in our hands. No matter how we try to play the old Nigerian game of going back to a history of denials, that is Takia, it's not going to make the problem go away. We are a serious country, but we are undermined. Our progress towards nationhood is undermined by the Fulani's attempt to create settler colonialism in the north, spread it to the Middle Belt. The Middle Belt, by the way, is a Christian majority area. It is a place where the bulk of the population of the north live in. And that's where the war has been. So if we don't discuss these truths, Nigerians won't understand. Katsina State Government was sold on the Fulani game, and they embraced it full time. Now that they have seen that the Nigerian government is doing a reverse, instead of trying to do something good, no, they are releasing the terrorists. Yet, Nigerian government were busy trying to divert attention, as created by Fulani politicians, that terrorism is in the southeast. The real terrorism is in the north.
All right, Doctor.
So let us play this game properly so that the crowd will understand what's going on.
All right.
Please.
And of course, that is why we are here. The point I always make every time we have you and other analysts, because it's everybody's issue. Nobody can hide, either in the media, as an analyst like yourself, farmers in their farms, the president up there, the northeast, the north-south, the northwest, everybody. And that's why we have you here, to provide solutions. We must first identify what these issues are, and then we provide solution. And of course, talking about the media, ours is to ask the question just as the people, as the mirror of the society that we are, It's what they are feeling that they are paused that we bring out. And there are rules guiding every work, everywhere, profession, but that will not stop anybody from saying the truth, because you must say the truth to power. Even the Holy Book says, the truth, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall, set you free. Dr. Katch, I want to ask you two questions here. Are you saying, number one, sir, are you saying that this position of the Katsina State Government on this matter, are you taking it as complicity rather than solution seeking? That's number one.
It is complicity.
All right. And number two,
of all the states in the
let me land so that I can take it together, sir. And number two is this. This is the same Diko Rada. That's the governor of the governors of Katsina State, who has been seen doing, talking on this matter. But then when you check Katsina State, the demography and the people, they are mostly Fulani and Kanuris. They are still the ones suffering this problem. Some of their leaders have been saying, killers. They are negotiating from a place of help. We see them every day. And now they are still the ones being overrun. If you are saying truly that this is a Fulani problem, are the Fulanis overrunning themselves in a place like Katsina? But I'd like you to start with a place of complicity instead of solution seeking, if that's the way you see it.
Okay, that's another problem. You have displayed your ignorance of Katsina. Katsina State is 87% Hausa.
My ignorance.
Okay? The Hausa Kingdom of Daura stretches from Katsina. It runs through Niger Republic, Maradi, goes through Zinga, Tahua, till it gets to the Libyan border of Agadas. Okay. It's Hausa land, not Fulani. The Hausas are the ones being killed in Basari, in Sapana, in Katsina, in Duzima, in Katsina, in Musa, in Katsina, in Kankara, in Katsina, even now in Huntua, in Katsina. And so this is not, it's Hausa land. It's Hausa land, okay? The British hired the Hausa, the Fulani, to supervise over the Hausa in what we call in history indirect rule. It is Hausa land. Hausa core state with no mix. Katsina 1, Kanu 2, Sokoto 3, and Zamfara 4. It's only probably in Jigawa you will see a mixture of other people. But in Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, and Kanu, core Hausa, no mix. You only see the Fulani in the ruling houses. This is Hausa land. And in the Fulanization agenda, as President Obasanjo wrote, the Fulanis were able to use Katsina as the first place, because you see, terrorists like Bello Turji, terrorists like Abdullahi Bello Bodejo, for whom the federal government have now arrested officials of the Bauchi State Government. These two terrorists came from the Daura Kingdom of Hausa land that stretches from Daura in Nigeria to the Libyan border in Niger, which is Agadez. But they are of the Fulani stock, but of Niger State, Bello Turji and Abdullahi Bello Bodejo. But they were brought into Nigeria to come and organize militias. And because of what Bello Bodejo organized in Nasarawa to use to attack the Benue Valley, Bala Muhammad, who is actually Jarawa, but was trying to overdo himself, by sponsoring a Fulani terrorist cell to impress Buhari in his bid to get second term in his governorship quest.
Yeah.
Now the federal government has brought him to EFCC for terrorism financing. So the people who did the most of terrorism patronship is Katsina State. It is a Hausa state. It's a Hausa land. It's not Fulani. There are no Kanuris in Katsina. Kanuris are there in 13 of 27 local governments in Borno. Kanuris are there in Yobe. Then of the 7 Kanuri clans, you have 4 in Nigeria, you have 2 in Chad, 1 in Niger. So you don't have any Kanuri in the Katsina. No. What you have in Katsina is Hausa and
Noted.
then you have Fulani as rulers.
Yeah.
So don't call Kanuri in Katsina. Katsina is a Hausa state. Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, and Kano.
All right. Let's talk about, noted, Doctor, sincerely noted. Now, let's talk about the complicity in all of these, because the state government have said this is still a part of seeking solution. But you think it's complicity?
It is complicity. What you see the state governor doing is the same thing that Matawale is doing. There are politicians who are 100% with the Fulani in this game. They levied a war against Nigeria. And the reason they levied that war is they don't have numbers. So under Buhari, they thought they could overrun the country. But because they don't have numbers, they can't achieve what they want. So they started this slow motion war. And part of the strategy to war is to use the Afghanistan and Pakistan strategy of forcing the army to capitulate to their militias. But now that they have seen that the federal government is serious due to the American intervention, you are now seeing reversals. Instead of dealing with terrorists who are held in prison as terrorists, the Katsina people want to release the terrorists as if they are free. How can you do that? And you're jailing people you call terrorists from eastern Nigeria, and terrorists who are convicted and are in prison, you're releasing them. That some people advised you. No problem. Tinubu should please release Nnamdi Kanu, who is convicted of terrorism, and said that the Nigerians have also advised him. Katsina State is complicit. 100%. Katsina State is complicit. It is the same Katsina where Hausas are being killed. In Basari, in Sapana, in Emusa, in Kankara, in Dutsima, in places like Malumpashi, even in Huntua. So these things are not new.
All right,
I am telling you just mentioned in the note.
Yes, sir. You just mentioned a name
that considered 20 local governments out of East 34 local governments to these terrorists.
Dr. Katch, you mentioned the name.
Yes.
That's Bello Tawale, former governor, and of course, current Minister of State for Defense. You know, that's a big name as far as security is concerned in Nigeria, because he sits at the helm of affairs as the Minister of State for Defense in Nigeria. And there was a time that the man, when he was a governor, spoke in a certain way. I will allow you to see the video on our TV viewers as well. Take a look.
It's the same, and you know, it's not all of them are criminal. Not all of them are criminal, because if you know, or maybe if you investigate what is happening or what makes them to take those laws into their hand, some of them sometimes were cheated by so-called Nsakai, and I have to ban completely the Nsakai in my state. The Nsakai, those called vigilante group, who normally went to their settlement, destroy their property and take their animals. You know, so, and, you know, they doesn't have anyone to speak with. So sometimes they are going for revenge. Like if Ntsake attack them, so they will go for the reprisals. So that is what exactly happening. And some of them are living in a settlement where close to a village or town, and they sometimes if there is maybe operation, military operation, the military will go and destroy their properties and their animals. So they are angry with such actions sometimes. So sometimes if you are talking to them, you can understand where they are coming from and you can understand their problems. So it is important we as leaders to sit down with those people to understand what is the genesis first. You can't just, you know, jump and conclude that the person is criminal. You have to listen to him. What makes him to go into that activities? So this is what to do. So they are not all of them. It's not all Fulani are criminals. Some are good citizens, but due to some circumstances, they subscribe to such a criminality.
All right, this was the position of Bello Matawalle when he was governor of Zamfara State, but he's now a minister. But some will say, can the apple fall away from the tree, far away from the tree? But some can say people's position differs, because some have seen this video to say it looks like the position always taken by the controversial Sheikh Gumi. And now the same Matawalle that has this position is still sitting at the defense of Nigeria. Dr. Watts, can you connect anything here? Do you think the governor, Matawalle, this position still remains his position as a minister of the federal cabinet?
Well, he remains a minister so that Tinubu doesn't want to give the impression that he's attacking the Fulani. So even those Fulani patrons who are okay with this terrorism are also in government.
I apologize, Doctor. I apologize, sir. Let's even start from here. Did you find anything wrong in that position of his, even though it was years ago? Did he say anything wrong?
Yes. He's trying to rationalize the reasons why the Fulanis take to terrorism. What he's trying to tell you in abridged explanation is simple. These Fulanis were the ones who were invited into Nigeria by Buhari. But after Buhari invited them into Nigeria, there was no land to resettle them. So they were staying in a camp. But from that camp, they were going everywhere to go and commit crime. That was why the soldiers, the operation people, were attacking them, because they were committing crime and coming to those camps. And then the statewide vigilante called Yansakai, this is the Hausa word for the Ambanga, for the vigilante, Yansakai, that the vigilantes also will go there and attack them when there are reports of criminals running into that camp where the Fulani, migrants are staying. So that's what he's trying to tell you. But then, that is not that soldiers attacked a camp inhabited by these settlers, or the Hausa vigilantes attacked the camp. That is not any good reason for a minister to justify the Fulanis taking to terrorism. So that he's wrong. No matter what it is he says was done to those people, that thing does not justify them taking to kidnapping, taking to terrorism, taking to killing Hausas, Mbasari, Sapana, Dutseman, Musa, Kankara, and the rest of the place. And that is the trick. So add him from Zamfara, as he was in power, add that to the Katsina State Government. That's why I'm telling you, a lot of officials in powerful positions in government are accomplices and very complicit in this terrorism across the country. So the terrorism, as we're now beginning to take a stock of, you can see it is in the north. The people who sponsor this terrorism, you can see, are Fulani politicians. But they try to create a diversion and deceive you with the small boys that they gave money to be shouting Biafra, Biafra in the east. Igbos went into all that nonsense. All those things were creations of government. That's why after the Buhari government came down, all those boys, they were paid money to be promoting Biafra Nana on the internet. All of them fizzled out because the Tinubu administration refused to continue state funding for those covert operations. That's also the reason why the unknown government sting operation,
Dr. Katch,
which was a covert operation of Buhari administration, died.
Are you saying, since this terrorism, banditry, insurgency war has first started against the Nigerian state, are you saying the Fulanis themselves, at one point or the other, in small numbers or big numbers, have not been a victim of these killings and killers? Have they not been?
I don't know, because when I toured the areas that were occupied by the Fulani militias, I normally see them appoint a Fulani man as Ado. They don't appoint a Hausa. They don't appoint any other person they don't appoint a Gbagi. It's always a Fulani man. So I don't think Fulanis are victims. what you will say are victims are Hausa Muslims. That is true. Hausas are the ones being killed in Sokoto, in Grunyo. I saw that with my eyes. Hausas have been the ones being killed in Ensedawo, in Malele, in Anka, in Angobe, all this in Zampara. I saw it myself. Bagi and Hausas are the ones being killed in Sohombri Ningwari, in Pandogari, in Alawa, in Dogongona, at the back of Briningwari. I saw that with my eyes. So Fulanis are not the victims of this. It's well-targeted issue. You know, Fulanis know themselves, and they are very few. But it is their slow-motion war against Nigeria, which when some of you people, journalists, try to be in denial because you were told not to agree, Americans came here and told you the truth.
I'm sure.
And told you what you have.
Dr. Katch, you always say this. You always say this. I'm sure you know there is no media outlet, either here or other guys, that have been told anything. We only ask questions based on what is being said, even though there are rules. The enemy have their rules. Nigeria Society of Engineers have their rules. The bar and the bench have their rules. So if there are rules that needs to be guided, definitely will be guided. But the position of the media being cowed or being told to do something or the other, that's not true. That's wrong.
I'm aware. I'm in the field.
All right.
I was there.
Thank you very much.
When the government people were telling the media not to call them Fulani militia, call them bandits, call them bandits. I saw it in my eyes now. It was during the period of Buratai. So that people are now calling Buratai's name. Yes, Buratai's name should be called. He was chief of army staff when the army looked the other way, pretended like army couldn't go to Sambisa, and he was cooperating with what all those people were telling him. Now we found out the Fulani militias are not that invisible. Look at it. Within 1 month of Christopher Musa's instructions, I want to turn the tables just to show you, alongside Buratai and the Fulani politicians, they kept Nigeria down. Buratai is deeply complicit in what happened. I'm saying it openly. He knows how to sue. He can come and sue me. I will bring more papers to indict him and put him inside the hole. Bala Muhammad, I told him that. It's the same thing. You cannot be more Fulani than the Fulani who are committing the crime because you want to impress Buhari. Everybody had a cell he was working with. Even that one you call, what's his name, Yaya Bello. All of them have cells that they are promoting today. The Igbidas are the #1 owners of ISWAP. So people did a lot of wrong against the Nigerian state. And until Tinubu gets serious to actually start a comprehensive review and interrogation of the informations available to state, we're not going to get there very far. We can scratch it at the bottom,
all right,
at the surface.
Dr. Katch, let's not get, over or brush aside the real issue here, what we're talking about. Let's talk about some of the elements of the reports on Premium Times. This particular one, towards the end of that report, said, citing Nigeria's civil war and past negotiations with Boko Haram, the commissioner argued that releasing detainees as part of peace negotiations was not unprecedented. Now, we've been talking about, not on this issue of insecurity alone, we've been talking about the danger of laying some precedents, with some issues. Let's talk about the precedent that has now been laid with the River State's crisis, where a state of emergency was, reached and all of that. With this situation, talking about the past, where negotiations were made with Boko Haram, which is what is now being cited here, are some of the things they looked into and said, we could do this as well in Katsina State. Let's talk about the danger. What's your opinion about what the danger is of precedences with repentant bandits being incorporated back into society and into our systems?
You need to have a federal policy in dealing with this issue. Katsina State cannot on its own start releasing war criminals. That is not true. Katsina State is complicit. Katsina is one of the very state that negotiated away 24 of its 34 local governments to these terrorists to show you how very willing they were to hand over Katsina State to Fulani terrorists. So, and that was why the American government said this is a disgrace and said no. Tinubu seems incompetent in managing the Fulani crisis.
Well, there's nothing about Fulani. There's nothing specific about Fulani bandits. They're just bandits. Let's stick to that, Doctor.
Please use your words for yourself. The bandits are not Yorubas. They are not Kanuris. The bandits are not Igbo. They are not Igbira. Please, this is a Fulani issue. Speak your own good language. Allow me to inform the public the truth of what's going on in our country. I don't know what's your problem. That's a Fulani war. You're still trying to sugarcoat it. What sugarcoating what? Didn't you see what the Americans did? Didn't you see that? Macban, is that a Yoruba organization? Macban is the Miet Allah Cattle Breeders Association. Kato Hore, is it a Yoruba association or Igbo association? It is the Miet Allah Kato Hore. Today, the government is prosecuting officials of the Bauchi State Government for handing money over to Miete Allah Kato Hore, which is used to mount terrorism against Benue State for 8 years that Governor Otto was complaining. Please, dress your words the way you want to dress them, but allow me to speak the truth. Anybody who doesn't like it, we can meet in court. There's no problem. Please, I own my words, and I insist on allowing me to be freely expressive in line with the truth, not to sugarcoat anything. They are not Yoruba bandits. They are not Igbo bandits. They are Fulani militias. Stop trying to dress them well. A criminal is a criminal, a terrorist is a terrorist, and those who have carried weapon against the state have carried weapon against the state. You deal with it, it should be state policy, not those same people who were in connivance with them going behind the government to say they've released them. Release them to where? Release them to where? These are states that are complicit. It's because Tinubu doesn't have a grip on what's going on. That's why instead of allowing the Ministry of Defense to roll out its policy and secure the country, people in Katsina State are behaving like we don't know what's going on. My dear, we know what's going on. Nobody's a child, nobody's a fool. Thank you.
All right. Let's go on a quick break, Doctor. When we come back, we'll speak on other issues, because in that communication that was made by the Katsina State Government, they said they agreed with the court. And I'm trying to see if actually state government has that capacity to tell the court to do something, or how do they go about that? And there are other issues as well. Stay with us.